So I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video today and review this 2014 VW Golf GTD. We just took this car in part exchange. It's done 122,000 miles and has a literal book of service history. Anyway, I digress. Let's see if this VW Golf GTD still performs like a new one, still drives like a new one, and is still as fun as a new one. My name's Tom and you are watching Paragon Cars. Let's go. So before we go through the 300 pages of service history, I just wanted to have a look round this car, just to see, what are the dents, how is it fared on the inside, are there any scratches or things that kind of need addressing on this 122,000 mile car. So let's have a look. See on the bonnet we've got a couple of stone chips, that's fairly normal. It's kind of slightly dented there, as you can see, that needs sorting. Headlights, tiny little bit faded, but not too bad. There's a little pin dent here as well that needs sorting. Supermarket car park stuff. Little scuff on the side here that needs doing. But generally, all that is pretty trivial. All the wheels are in nice condition. Nothing I can really complain about, really. Inside, now this is where VW Golfs, especially the Mark 7s, were very good. They're solid units, these things. And when you get these seats that aren't leather, they don't actually sag at all. As you can see, this car is over 10 years old and, with a bit of cleaning, this car would look pretty much brand new. The only thing I can notice is a tiny little bit of sag in the driver's bolster. But overall, even things like the floor mats are still in pretty good nick, which is pretty impressive. So cosmetically at least, this VW Golf GTD is actually in pretty good shape. But what about the engine? Is that book of service history there for a reason, or has the previous owner just done their due diligence? Well, let's find out. Key, foot on the clutch, foot on the brake, key in the hole, and let's see what she does. I was expecting it to take a little bit longer than that actually, so that is a good sign. And yet, there's your proof of mileage. A lot of people would say that's a high mileage car, but actually it's not really. But apparently it is a car that needed a lot of maintenance. So let's go through that now and see what it's had done to it. So most of these services are just things like oil changes, filter changes, body check. Yeah, sure. Sure, at a VW dealer they're definitely doing that thoroughly. But it's had pretty regular oil changes, which is always nice to see. So one thing you always want to look for if you're buying a used car is make sure it's been done sort of around every 10,000 miles. Any longer than that and it starts making me nervous then. But this has had a lot of oil changes. Obviously being 122,000 miles, it should have around 12. Which it seems to have actually more than that, which is quite extraordinary really. And then that's another thing that you want to look for is the cam belt and the water pump, because that is the one common thing that seems to go wrong with all of these cars, including GTDs, GTIs and Golf Rs. It's always the thermostat housing or the water pump that goes. Obviously other things you want to look for are things like brake discs and pads and brake fluid changes. You really don't want to miss out on those. And then the one other thing that usually gets missed is the air conditioning system. A lot of people don't service this or regas them. So a lot of used cars that come in here tend to have a non-functional air conditioning system. And in newer cars, unlike this particular Golf, they use a different gas, which is actually much more expensive, so you want to make sure that you keep on top of that. So the car's clearly been looked after well, and it's had quite a bit of money spent on it, upwards of about 5 grand in terms of servicing and replacing things like the water pump. But does it still drive like a new Golf GTD? Well, let's see if the alignment is still in order, whether the clutch is low or high, whether there's any rattles in the door cards, and whether this engine still has the 184 horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque it left factory with. So I suppose we should probably start with the 30 to 70 sprint. Let's see how she does.
Well, it seems this 120,000 mile Golf GTD has every one of those ponies under the bonnet that it left factory with, because we did a time of 6.15 seconds, which is actually pretty decent. And yeah, the fastest run I did was just in 3rd gear. As much as I like to think I'm a very fast gear changer, yeah, just doing it in 1 gear was still quicker.
Okay then, starting around town, let's see what the suspension sounds like. Nothing really. Usually you get a little bit of noise from the front in these older Golfs. Gear shift is beautiful, feels brand new to me. Steering wheel is a little bit grubby though, I will say that. Definitely needs a bit of a clean, but the steering feels nice. So far feels on centre. I guess on the motorway we'll find out if it really is. I love the interiors of these older Golfs because you have this adjustable armrest, the seats are nice and comfy. You have this little secret cubby underneath your seat, as well as the little cubby down here as well, which is really nice. It's just such a nice interior, and it still feels really like well put together. I notice a lot of newer cars, especially brands like Mercedes, tend to have quite a lot of creaks, and that's because they use a lot of hard plastics. This is all nice and soft, you know, soft touch materials. Lovely stuff. Right, see if the parking sensors all still work. I got the beep of working, which is always good. Parking the Mark 7 Golf as well is just so easy. So much steering angle. The rack is quite fast as well. Only 2 turns lock to lock. And yeah, it's like the perfect size for London, but still big enough that you're not going to get annoyed in it on the motorway. Then, being the 5-door, easily get to the first notch in the door. It's like the easiest car ever to live with. It's weird to think this car's over 10 years old now, so it doesn't feel it. Like, the actual just design feels pretty newish still. Apart from this infotainment, that does look a little bit old. Right, coming out of junctions. Lovely amount of torque from this thing. Oh wow, yeah, sprightly. Yeah, it's a cracking engine, this. Lovely and punchy. It's exactly what you want from a diesel. Right, one thing we are going to do as well actually is check to see if it will still do its claimed MPG figure after 122,000 miles. So the combined figure is actually 57 miles per gallon, which, yes, this was before WLTP came in properly, so I think it is a little bit fibricious or infactual. But I reckon in reality it should do around 50 miles per gallon or around 48 mpg, but we will see. So let's reset our indicator. We're going to do the average commute of 14 miles and see what it does. We're going to do a little bit around town and on the motorway, of course. Oh yeah, and we are going to test to see how quiet this thing is inside, because I've never actually done that in a Golf before. I want to see if it's as quiet as an Audi A3 or not. I don't think it's going to be, but it's going to be interesting to see what it does. For reference, an Audi A3 will do about 71.5 decibels on the motorway. So if this does under 73, I will be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, plant your foot from about 35 miles an hour. All that juicy torque comes in, and yeah, straight up to 70. It's an absolutely lovely engine, this. It's just so much mid-range punch. Alright, foot down. Look at that. And yeah, once we're on the motorway, this actually had one of the first iterations of VW's adaptive cruise control, which is a nice thing to see. So set your speed. We want active cruise, 70 miles an hour, set. There we go, lovely. And now the car will actually just keep me a safe distance from the car in front of me. And in 6th gear, you're below 2,000 revs at 70 miles an hour, which is just a lovely thing indeed. Ride is nice, steering is still absolutely bang on centre. It must have had an alignment, this car, purely because I have driven a lot of these and they usually go off kilter at about 80,000 miles, so it must have had an alignment done. I didn't see it in the service booklet though, but it feels lovely. Nothing to complain about, no rattles, no squeaks. Wind noise is obviously about the same as a new one. Nothing to complain about. Anyway, let's see what MPG it does and how loud this thing is inside. Well, I'll be damned. We did pretty much bang on the claimed combined MPG figure. We did 55.6 MPG. Now remember, that's driving round town and on the motorway. And today, we actually had quite a lot of traffic. And that figure's still going up. We're doing 56 MPG now. So, yeah, this is still a very, very efficient car. I reckon on a longer journey, you'd easily get around just under 70 MPG out of this thing. And when you consider its performance, woohoo! That's a pretty good deal, I think. I'm surprised how good these things are. Easy to rev match as well. Oh yeah, and in terms of decibel level, we did 72.3, so slightly louder than an Audi A3, but actually still pretty quiet, and quiet enough that you're not going to easily get annoyed on a long motorway journey. Anyway, how does this thing handle? Nice manual gearbox, rev matching, GTI in front of us. Can we keep up with him? Probably, because he's not racing. Steering, still lovely. Any understeer? A little bit of understeer, but that's to be expected. Still a Volkswagen. It's just the torque that's really nice. Just putting your foot down. Like fourth gear, from 50, just plant your foot, immediate power, that's 60, and that's 70. Can't complain at all about that. Third and fourth are like where it's at in the GTD. Even from like 3,000 revs, whee! Loads of power. Brakes, yeah, those are nice. Obviously discs and pads have been replaced, otherwise they would be non-existent on a 120,000 mile car. Right, before we get on a smaller B road, let's have a ganders at the 0 to 60 time. Now, obviously, being a manual car, I'm not going to be very aggressive with the launch, but, you know, I will try and accelerate as fast as I can. It's claimed to do it in 7.5 seconds. If I get anywhere close to that today, I will be amazed, because usually I absolutely suck at changing gears quickly.
So we did a time of 8.23 seconds, and you know what, I think that's not bad. My gear changes weren't the best, so I think with a more competent person behind the wheel, you would probably get the claimed time. But for a 120,000 mile Golf, that is pretty decent.
I mean, considering it's soaking wet, I think that's a pretty good time, don't you? And I was being nice to the car, so... Right, let's see how she does down here. Yeah, this is where it feels a little bit soft, but I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah, lovely, lovely car to drive. Get the armrest back. Brakes feel nice. Chuck it into a corner. Yeah, it's lovely. Really pleasant. And third gear from 30 miles an hour. It feels like an absolute rocket ship, this thing. Wheel spin in third. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I could do with lowering a bit maybe. Some slightly stiffer springs, better dampers, but to just kind of drive at 8/10, it's absolutely lovely. And it is quite good fun. Yeah, it's not quite as darty as a GTI, but nothing wrong with it. It's just pleasant car to get a move on in. I mean, the drivetrain you cannot fault. 120,000 miles, feels brand spanking new. Just goes to show, if you look after stuff, it does last, unsurprisingly. Anyway, as always, I hope you enjoy reviews like this. If you do, give us a like, and why not subscribe? It's not only can you see more content like this, you can see everything we have for sale, which obviously includes the car in the video. If you want to go and have a look at it, there'll be a link down in the description below. If there's not, it has sold. Sorry, you missed it. But thankfully, there is a link to our generic website where you can check out everything else we have in stock. And remember, if you want to sell your used car, like this guy did, then head over to our website. Again, link in the description below, and you can give us a call, send us an email, or just come to the dealership and have a ganders. Anyway, my name has been Tom, and you have been watching Paragon Cars. If you want to subscribe, there's a little link there. And if you want to watch another video, there's a little link there. Other than that, I will see you next time. Cheers.